Welcome to Chapter 3 of Digital Communication, Error Control Systems. Module 11 includes a new error control code known as convolutional code, and in this module, convolutional code generation is going to be studied. Convolutional code is an error correcting code. So receiver is able to do error detection and correction. Output depends on present and past input bits. In block code, output is always depends on only the present input bits. One block is received and based on that block, output is going to be generated. Convolutional code is writing n, k, m convolutional code, where n is a number of output bits, k is a number of input bits at a time, m is a number of previous input bits used for generating n output bits. So here the number of message bits are not mentioned. Any number of message bits can be given, but at a time how many input bits are going to be given, that is k. I am showing an example here. This is an example of convolutional encoder. Only one bit is going to be given at a time. So when I am saying k is equal to 2, there should be two parallel input. So there are two parallel line like this. Then two input bits are going to be given simultaneously. Then k will be 2. If you are giving 3 parallel bits, then k will be 3. Like that the k is going to be changed. So k is not the number of data bits. At a time how many input bits are going to be given to the system, that is k. So for this encoder, k is equal to 1. Only one incoming line. So only one bit is going to be given at a time. And whatever be the input bit, that bit is going to be taken here, that is S1 bit. And this is a shift register. This is another shift register. This will be the present bit. And this is the previous 2 bits. So for generating the output, present bit and 2 previous input bits are used. And that is m, number of previous input bits. So for this encoder, m is equal to 2. 2 previous input bits are used and 1 input bit at a time, and we are getting 2 output bits C1 and C2. That is why n, k, m for this encoder is 2, 1, 2. So first number 2, number of output bits C1 and C2. Second number 1, at a time how many input bits are going to be given. Here only one bit is going to be given. Only one incoming line, otherwise there will be 2 parallel lines, then k will be 2. If there are 3 parallel lines, then k will be 3. So here k is equal to 1. And how many previous bits? S2 and S3. 2 previous bits. The present bit, delayed, and then one more delay. After that, that bit won't be the part of code generation. So that is m. m is equal to 2. So this encoder is going to be specified by these numbers 2, 1, 2. So all these are written here. N is equal to number of output bits, k is a number of input bits at a time, and m is equal to number of previous input bits. And C1 is going to be generated through this path. That path is written as path 1, and second path is written as path 2. And the equation will be like this. S1 plus S2 plus S3 is equal to C1. And for generating C2, S1 XOR S3. This is one encoder I have selected for explaining all the basic definitions of convolutional encoder. This switch will select C1 and C2, so output will be C1 and C2. Even though I am showing like this, right side bit will be C2, then C1, C2. Because for left to right transmission, we always write lowest number left side and highest number right side. Here also the same thing. Shift register 1, shift register 2. S1, S2, S3. Here code rate is defined. Code rate is K by N. For this encoder, code rate is 1 by 2. Code efficiency, code rate is writing in terms of percentage. That is 1 by 2 into 100, that is a 50%. Code redundancy, 1 minus code rate, that is 1 by 2, or 100 minus code efficiency, that is 50%. Constraint length, that's a new definition that was not used for a block code. Constraint length L is equal to M plus 1. For this encoder, constraint length is equal to 3. And the meaning of constraint length is number of times one input bit can influence the code generation. I'll explain with the help of this encoder what is the meaning of constraint length. When one input bit is coming here, and that is a part of code generation, the same bit will be here when we are getting the second bit. So that first bit will be here. Again, that is a part of code generation. The same bit will be here when we are receiving the third bit. So third bit will be here, second bit will be here, the first bit will be here. Again, that is a part of code generation. When we are receiving the fourth bit, the first bit will be out of the system. So maximum, how many times we are able to say the code can influence the code generation? 3 times. That 3 is constraint length. And that 3 is always this number 3. S1, S2, S3. How many positions we are writing, that is always the constraint length. Say the constraint length is equal to 3. Number of shift register is equal to 2. Or the relation between this M and constraint length is M plus 1 is equal to L. L is a constraint length. 3 times. In a block code, it's only once one input bit is generating a code. So that is the reason constraint length was not defined for N, K block code. Because every time, only once it is generating a code. Once the code is generated, the data will be out. The new data block is going to be accepted. So one data bit will never influence 2 or more times. But that is not the case of a convolutional code. That depends upon the number of shift registers. Many times the same data bit will be a part of code generation. So for this example, 3 times. So constraint length is equal to 3. Append M zeros to the input bits. So that is again clear from the previous encoder. I'll explain again with the help of previous encoder. Suppose I'm giving 3 input bits, 1, 1, 1. The first bit will be here. It will be part of code generation. When I'm giving the second one, the first one will be here. Again, that will be a part of code generation. When I'm giving the third one, the first one will be here. Again, it's a part of code generation. So now we can see the first bit could influence 3 times the code generation. But now the number of data bits are over. Second bit is here. It could influence only 2 times. Third bit is here and it could influence only once. But what is our requirement is each bit should influence 3 times. So that is possible by appending 2 extra zeros. After giving the first extra zero, the third one will be here. After giving the second extra zero, the third one will be here. So now the third one also can influence 3 times to generate the code word. That is why after completing the data bits, always give M extra zeros. The M extra zeros are known as appended zeros or padded zeros. That is what is written here, append M 0 bits to the input bits. So then total number of input bits are number of data bits plus M, where M is the extra zeros. Number of input bits into the encoder is equal to number of message bits plus M zeros. Path responses or generator sequences, both are same. Path 1 response is equal to generator sequence 1 is equal to, it is representing like this, G1 is equal to. In the previous case, according to the previous encoder, path 1 response is 1, 1, 1 and path 2 response is 1, 0, 1. That again I'll explain with the help of that encoder. For path 1, S1 is connected, S2 is connected, S3 is also connected. If all these three are connected, then path 1 response is 1, 1, 1. For path 2, S1 is connected, but S2 is not connected. If it is not connected, put 0 there. So 1, 0, 1. So path 2 response is 1, 0, 1. If I'm making a connection like this, S1 is directly connected to the output. And if I'm saying that is C1, then path response will be 1, 0, 0. So path response is based on this connection. Here all three are connected. That is why 1, 1, 1. Here only first and last are connected. That is why it's 1, 0, 1. Instead of this, if the connection is made like this, only S2 is connected, S3 is connected. Then path 2 response will be 0, 1, 1. So that responses are written here. G1 is 1, 1, 1 and G2 is equal to 1, 0, 1. And the same path responses can be written in terms of polynomial format. That is called generator polynomial. 1, 1, 1 can be written as 1 plus x square. In some textbook, it might have written 1 plus d square. So here I am using the variable x, 1 plus x square. And for a 101, it is 1 plus x square. This sequence just convert into polynomial format. And for a convolutional encoder, we are giving left input, right output. That is why the polynomial is like this, lower degree to higher degree. 1 plus x square, and this is 1 plus x square. Impulse response of encoder. According to signals and system, impulse response is a response of a system against impulse input. That is, if the input is delta t, what output the system is generating, that is called impulse response, and normally writing that is h of t. Here, impulse response is a response of encoder against input bit 1. So if the input bit is 1, what code encoder is going to generate, that is known as impulse response. So we can do the calculation of impulse response of this encoder, the previous encoder. For the previous encoder, our equations are this one. C1 is S1 plus S2 plus S3 and C2 is equal to S1 plus S3. Initially, S1, S2, S3 are 0, 0, 0 and our input is only 1. So I am writing that 1 here, but after 1 or after any number of data bits, we should go for M padded zeros or appended zeros. That M extra zeros are written here. So the input message is only 1 and after that 2 extra 0 because M is equal to 2 extra 0. The first data bit is coming below S1. So this 0 shifted here, this 0 shifted here. So now the shift registers positions are 1, 0, 0. And our equation is C1 is S1 plus S2 plus S3. So 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. And C2 is equal to 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. So our output is 1, 1. And now the extra 0, due to the extra 0, this 1 will be shifted and the 0 will be shifted. The sequence will be 0, 1, 0 and output will be 1, 0. Due to the second padded 0, the data bit 1 is going to be shifted to the rightmost position. Now you can see the data bit can influence 3 times. It was originally below S1. Due to the first padded 0, it shifted to S2 position. Due to the second padded 0, the data bit 1 was shifted to S3 position. So it occupied all 3 positions, S1, S2, S3. And that is a requirement. Each data bit should come below S1, below S2 and below S3. It is possible by padding or appending M extra zeros. And the output code is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And that is the impulse response of this encoder. That is basically the code generated by this encoder. But the code generated by this encoder, if the input bit is 1, is called the impulse response. So the impulse response of the given encoder is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Give a small space between 2 sets. First set is 1, 1, then give a space, then 1, 0, give a space, 1, 1. Now we are studying code generation, that is exactly same like that impulse response calculation. Code generation, the input. I am giving two different input messages, 10011 and 011. This is another difference compared to block code. Here for the given encoder, I am giving different length data bits, 10011 and 011. For the previous calculation, there was only one bit. That is why there is no restriction for number of data bits for a given encoder. Any number of data bits can be given, but after giving the complete data bits, go for m extra zeros. Initial state, that is called 0 state. S1, S2, S3 are 0, 0, 0. And our input data 10011. I just written that one here, 10011. After that, m extra 0, that's a padded 0 or appended zeros. Now the shifting is going to start. When we are given the first data bit, this 0 will be shifted here, the 0 will be shifted here. So the bits are 1, 0, 0. Use that equation for generating C1. C1 is S1 plus S2 plus S3. So 1 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to 1. Then C2 is equal to S1 plus S3. 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. Now the second bit is reached here. First bit will be shifted here and this 0 will be shifted here. So it will be 0, 1, 0. Again use the equation S1 plus S2 plus S3. 1. S1 plus S3, 0. So like this, continue this procedure with that two extra zeros, and due to the help of that two extra zero, we can see the last data bit can be shifted to the rightmost position. That is a requirement for a convolutional code generation. Last data bit should be shifted to the last position. And the last result will be S1 plus S2 plus S3 is 1. Then S1 plus S3 is equal to 1. So this is the code generated for the data sequence 10011. That is written here. Code is first combination 11, that is written here 11. Second combination 10, that is 10. Third combination 11, so third set is 11. Like that, written all the sets. For the second data, that is 011. So 011 is written. And after 011, m extra 0, that is 2 extra 0. Remember, the extra zeros are not related to the number of data bits. Irrespective of the number of data bits, the padded zeros are always equal to m. And for our given encoder, m is equal to 2. That is a 2 extra zeros. And the code will be 0011, 01, 01, 11. These equations are used for calculating C1 and C2. Code generation using impulse response. Now this is another method for calculating the same answer, same code can be generated with the help of impulse response. This method is known as time domain method because impulse response is a time domain characteristic of a system. Time domain method. So I'll show how to calculate code using impulse response. The example I'm taking, the message is 011. So right here 011, input bits are 011. And for 0, first write the response. We got the response for 1, that is called impulse response. The impulse response for 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And then if the input bit was 0, you will get the same number of zeros. So input bit 0, you write 6 zeros here. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Impulse response, we got 6 bits. The same 6 bits here, but complete 0 because input bit is equal to 0. The second bit is 1. When we are given the second bit, one set is already generated. That is why for the second set, go for a right shift. Start from below second set. So 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And when the third input bit is given, again go for one more shift. Next combination is again 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So this is a response of 0. Second line is a response of 1. Third line is a response of again 1. But every time you go for one set right shift. After completing this one, just go for XOR. The answer will be the code. So the first 0, 0, second column 1, 1, third column 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 and then 1, fourth column 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 and 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. Last column 1, 1. And that is the original code we already calculated using the previous method. So the same code can be obtained using impulse response. This is also same as accumulation of impulse response is the output. Accumulation of impulse response is known as convolution. That is why this code is also known as convolutional code. That is, output can be obtained with the help of convolution. That is, convolution of responses, impulse responses. That is why the code is called convolutional code. So now we studied two different methods to calculate the code. Using this table method, we can generate the code. Using impulse response, we can generate the code. Now we are going to study another method for generating the code. Okay, the previous method is repeated with another example. 1 0 0 1 1. For 1, this is a response, that is called impulse response. 1 1 1 0 1 1. And for 0, response is always 0, but start after one set. 0 0 0 0 0 0. And the reason for that one is, when we are given the second bit, this set is already generated. That is why. When you are given the third bit, two sets are generated. So that is why below third set, you start the output response. Fourth bit, 3 sets are generated, start from here. Fifth bit is 1, so same impulse response. XOR, this will be the answer. Now the third method for generating code is code generation using generator polynomial. This is known as transform domain method. We are transforming our data into polynomial, then we are doing the calculation. And the procedure is C of x is equal to D of x into G of x. We got two generator polynomial. Both generator polynomials are going to be used here for getting the output. G1 x is equal to 1 plus x square. G2 of x is equal to 1 plus x square. And D is equal to 1 0 0 1 1. Convert this one into polynomial. D of x is 1 plus x cube plus x raised to 4. Remember, all our conversion is from left to right. D of x is 1 plus x cube plus x raised to 4. Now, C1 and C2 bits are there. Each code consists of 2 bits, C1 and C2. So first we are getting C1 bits. C1 of x is equal to D of x into G1 of x. D of x is 1 plus x cube plus x raised to 4 multiplied with the generator polynomial 1 plus x square. This is the answer. And this answer is written in terms of ones and zeros here. 1, x square, x cube, no x raised to 4, no x raised to 5, x raised to 6 is there. So that is a 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. C2 of x is equal to D of x into G2 of x. Data polynomial is multiplied with the second generator polynomial, that is 1 plus x square. This is a product. Remember, when you're doing this multiplication, addition is XOR. So if there are 2x, that is x plus x, that both should be cancelled. If there are 2 x squares, that is x square plus x square, that should be cancelled. Like our normal cyclic code generation. 1 plus x square plus x cube plus x raised to 4 plus x raised to 5 plus x raised to 6. So that C2 is equal to converting this one into bits 1 0 1 1 1 1 1. Now finally the output bit should be returned like this. First C1, then C2. So the first output set is 1 1. So 1 1 is written here. Second set is 1 0. 1 0 is written here. Third set is 1 1. So third set is 1 1. So like that, each set should be written here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 7 sets are there. So the reason for the 7th set is number of message bits are 5 plus 2 appended zeros. That is the 7 sets. Number of sets can be determined like this. Number of message bits plus m. That will be the number of sets. And each set consists of small n bits, where n is the number of output bits. Code generation using generator matrix. That is the fourth method for generating the code. For 2, 1, 2 code, impulse response is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And using this impulse response, generator matrix can be written. It's like this. G is equal to, write that 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 here, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Then go for continuous 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, any number of columns. The reason is, there is no restriction for the number of data bits. Depends upon the number of data bits, we can decide how many columns are needed. 1 1 1 0 1 1, then zeros. Then go for one right shift. 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1, again continue with the zeros. Then one more shift. 0 0 0 0, again write the same sequence. 1 1 1 0 1 1, etc. This can be repeated, depends upon the requirement. So how to decide the requirement? Number of rows is equal to number of input bits. Number of columns is equal to number of input bits plus m. So based on the given data bits, we are able to decide how many rows and how many columns are needed. This example will give you a clear idea. Input is equal to 1 0 0 1 1. Number of data bits are 5. So we should go for a 5 rows. And m is equal to 2 for this encoder. So 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. So 7 columns are needed. So make generator matrix with 5 rows and 7 columns. So that is made here. Then code is going to be determined using our normal linear block code generation method. C is equal to D into G. C is equal to D is written 1 0 0 1 1, and this is a generator matrix we are selected according to the requirement. According to the requirement means number of bits are 5, that is a 5 rows, and m is equal to 2, so 5 plus 2 is equal to 7 columns. Then linear block code multiplication method is like this. If the first bit is 1, select first row. Last 2 bits are 1s, so last 2 rows are selected. So XOR first row plus 4th row plus 5th row. Answer is 1 1 1 0 1 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1. The same previous answer can be obtained from this method also. So here using generator matrix, the code can be determined. This is the fourth method for generating convolutional code. Go with another example. Here 2, 1, 1 code with the generator sequence 1, 1 and 1, 0. So if it is given like this, we are able to design our encoder. G1 is equal to 1, 1 and G2 is equal to 1, 0. So once it is 1, 1, that means generator sequence consists of only 2 bits. So only one shift register is needed. Previous case, generator sequence G1 was 1, 1, 1. So 3 bits indicates that we should go for a 2 shift registers. Here only 1 shift register. 1, 1 is an indication S1 and S2 should be connected. And XOR, that will be a C1 bit. And second generator sequence is 1, 0. So 1, 0 is an indication second connection is not made, only S1. So directly that is C2 bit. So output will be C1, C2. So if generator sequences are given, we are able to draw encoder system. Or if encoder is available, we are able to make the generator sequence. So input, these are the two positions S1 and S2. Both are connected here for generating C1. That is why generator sequence is 1, 1. Here only S1 is used. That is why generator sequence is 1, 0. Number of output bits are 2. That is why 2. Only 1 bit at a time. That is the second number is 1. And there is only one previous bit is used for making the output. That is the third number is 1. That is small m is equal to 1. If m is equal to 1, constraint length L is equal to 2. So here 1 bit can influence 2 times. When that bit is here, it will influence the code generation. Same bit will be shifted here. Again, it is a part of code generation. So 2 times 1 message bit can influence the code generation. That is a constraint length is equal to 2. Code rate is equal to 1 by n. So it's 1 by 2. Code efficiency, same. Code rate is writing in terms of percentage, that is 50%. Code redundancy, 1 minus code rate, that is 1 by 2. Constraint length is m plus 1, that is 2. Generator polynomial, each generator sequence can be converted into polynomial format. 1, 1 is converted as 1 plus x and 1, 0 will be converted to just 1. Impulse response, for impulse response, only one input bit, that is 1. And after that, number of padded 0 is only m minus 1. That means only one padded 0 is needed here. So that is given here. S1, S2, initially 0, 0, then one message bit, after that one padded 0, and then using these two equations, we got C1 and C2. So the output bits are 1, 1 and 1, 0. So impulse response of this encoder is 1, 1, 1, 0. Impulse response of the given encoder can be written without any calculation from this generator sequence. It will be like this: first bit and this first bit, that is 1, 1. Second bit, that is 1, 0. So that way also it can be written 1, 1, then 1, 0. That's the impulse response of the given encoder. Code generation. So the example is writing here as 0, 1, 1. Initially S1, S2 are 0, 0. Message is written here 0, 1, 1, 1. Here only one appended 0 is needed. The reason M is equal to 1. First bit is 0, this 0 will be shifted here, and our equation for C1 is S1 plus S2, and equation for C2 is just S1. So S1 plus S2 is 0, S1 is 0. Next, second bit is 1, so 0 will be shifted here. So S1 and S2 are 1, 0, and C1 is S1 plus S2, that is 1, and C2 is S1, that is also 1. So using this sequence, we are able to get C1, C2. That C1, C2 are written here as output. First set 0, 0, second set 1, 1, third set 0, 1, fourth set 0, 1, fifth set 1, 0. Next, the same answer can be determined using time domain method, that is also known as impulse response method or convolutional method. Message is written here 0, 1, 1, 1, and for this 0, impulse response is 0, 0, 0, 0. Because impulse response consists of 4 bits, and when the input bit is 0, just write 4 zeros. And second bit is 1, impulse response is 1, 1, 1, 0. Third bit is 1, again 1, 1, 1, 0. Fourth bit is 1, again 1, 1, 1, 0. XOR all these responses, output will be 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. This answer and the previous answers are same. Now using transform domain method, that is using polynomial method. Input is 0, 1, 1, 1, and two generated polynomials are 1 plus x and 1. D is equal to 0, 1, 1, 1. The corresponding polynomial is equal to D of x is x plus x square plus x cube. Now C1x is equal to D of x into G1 of x. That is, D of x is x plus x square plus x cube multiplied with the G1 of x is 1 plus x. After multiplication, we are getting the answer x plus x raised to 4. And that is converted into bits here. No 1, x is there, no x square, no x cube, x raised to 4. Total how many bits are needed here? Number of message bits plus number of padded zeros. Number of message bits are 4 plus 1 padded 0. So we need 5 bits. So we got 5 bits here. C2 of x is equal to D of x into G2 of x. D of x is x plus x square plus x cube. G2 of x is 1. So answer is x plus x square plus x cube. That is written in terms of 1s and 0. No 1, x, x square, x cube. No x raised to 4. How do we know x raised to 4 is needed? Because total 5 bits are needed. For 5 bits, the degree of the polynomial should be 4. So that is why there is an x raised to 4, but x raised to 4 is not existing here. That is a 0. Now the output bits are going to return. First set 0, 0. Second set 1, 1. Third set 0, 1. Next set 0, 1. Again last set 1, 0. Again verify with the previous answer. It's same answer we are getting again. Now code generation using generator matrix. Input 0, 1, 1, 1. And C is equal to D into G. How many rows are needed? Number of data bits. Number of data bits are 4. So 4 rows are needed. How many columns are needed? Number of data bits plus number of padded zeros. Number of data bits are 4 plus 1 padded 0. So we need 5 columns. 4 rows and 5 columns. And that is made here with the help of impulse response. Impulse response is 1110. That is written here 1110, remaining just zeros only. Then go on shifting these bits to right side. 00, then 1110. That's the generator matrix. Multiply these two. Multiplication is like this. Second bit is 1, so select second row. Third bit is 1, select third row. Fourth bit is 1, select fourth row. Then XOR second row, third row and fourth row. Answer is 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. Thank you.